Simpro holds your customers in a database in the software so that you can access them for your quotes and jobs, and also that you can have a reference record for them and see their history and all of their notes and which jobs you have on for them at any one period in time. So in this very short session, I want to take you through where to find them and what the highlights are in a particular record, because we're not going to go over everything to do with customers because that would take quite some time. So if we hover over in the top left-hand corner, the people menu, we can see at the top of the list we have customers. So click on that and it will take us into the customer list. Now you can also find customers by using the global search bar. So if I want to find Dan Bevan, I simply type in Bevan, and you can see there I've got a number of different results because I happen to have 3 different customers, all with the name Bevan within the title or within the customer's name. However, we've got the screen open here, so we're going to use this customer list, and this is your whole customer database. I've only got 7 in this example system, but obviously you could have a lot more. You could have hundreds, you could have thousands. But I'm going to click on Dan Bevan and open up the record. The first page that I want to look at is the address page. So the address page obviously includes the customer's address. You do have some automatic fields here, so if you haven't created a customer before and you're creating one for the first time, you can enter the postcode and it'll come up with an address search. But we are going to cover that later in the course, so I'll skip over that for now. But this page is really important, and if you open up a customer record and some of it isn't completed, you should be trying to complete those additional details in the system so that they're complete. The other tabs that I wanted to take you through are the contact tab. So obviously, in customers, you have a customer database, and this one in particular is Dan Bevan, but it could be a company. And regardless of whether you have a company type customer or an individual type customer, you can still have multiple contacts at that particular place. So even though this is an individual type customer, I can still have Dan, Zoe, Cora, Roscoe, Amity. I can still have everyone listed against that particular customer record with each of their individual contact details. The other thing I wanted to show you was sites. So sites in Simpro, it's actually what we're going to cover next, but these actual individual locations where we can go and carry out work, and they are associated to a customer record. So this particular customer has 4 separate locations that we can go and do work at. So whenever we get a contact from them or a request from them, we would probably ask them which of your sites or locations is applicable to this particular quote or job that you want carrying out. The next one that I feel is really useful is the history tab. And the history tab basically collects together all of that customer's jobs and quotes and invoices all in one place. So if you have them on the phone and you pull up their record, you can really quickly get into all of the information that you need in order to provide them with that service. And in addition to that, you can look to them like you really know where their account is up to. The other thing that's useful from an account perspective, from just the customer in isolation rather than looking at a particular quote or job, is the logs tab. Logs tab is great because it gives you every single thing that has happened with that client, and it also gives you every single note. So we can see the last entry here is created note, account management call, maintenance contract renewal. And if I go into the notes here, we can see that there's a phone reference left, discussion with Debbie over contract renewal, blah, 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 blah. But that really allows us to be able to track what has happened with the client. Now, the logs tab doesn't just include information that you have entered into this client directly in terms of notes. It will also go and grab notes that have been made against this client from quotes and jobs and invoices. So if a quote has been sent out to a client, it will record that as a note in this customer record. So it's quite powerful to be able to have that audit trail. And later on in the course, we're going to discuss the importance of actually recording phone call notes and sending emails out of the system so that they push into records like this and that your colleagues can benefit from having that audit trail. So that's customers really briefly. We will be exploring other areas. You might have noticed inside the customer record, there's lots of other tabs here. There's a settings page, tags, response times, and we will be going over those other areas, but we're going to do it in the context of actually being in a job or actually being in a quote and actually needing to access that information rather than doing it out of context here where you might feel a bit overwhelmed at this stage.